be delaying any of the choices here as we've come to the very end of the draft. So, gentlemen, who's feeling the best out of this one? I'm looking at FlyQuest. I'm seeing so much CC and options here, but the range and scaling from G2 is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, G2 have drafted a very traditional front-to-back composition. I think that given they have push on the bot side of the map, but I say that, I don't even know if there's even much options to use that prio. Don't be surprised to see G2 set up a split map early on, go for an early invade, try to push Inspired out of its jungle, but I have to imagine Inspired will read this as well. And I think the biggest thing is how much backline access will Inspired have alongside the Cassante, because if you can take out Hans Sama, a lot of the damage is going to disappear, and this Cassante won't die if there's no Caitlyn to melt through it.
And this is a very fun statistical game as well, gentlemen, because Skumon, 24-6, known very much for his Maokai, 80% win rate. Inspired, 16-4 on Wukong, also 80% win rate. A battle in the jungle of the 80%, and Masu is 9-0 on Corki, his career. So, I mean, that could be going down, or he could be 10-0 and getting there at Worlds. That would be absurd.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a comp that FlyQuest are very, very, very comfortable on. And I don't think that G2 threw out any surprises in game number 1. So I do have to feel confident from the FlyQuest side that the fact that they know their enemy quite well at this point too for G2. I guess the Bard is a little bit of a wrinkle, and we'll see how well Labrov can play the Bard in this game versus Busio versus FlyQuest, and see if we can actually have that improvement from Labrov, from Skumon here to make this different from MSI.
All right, here we are, though, ladies and gentlemen. We're onto the Rift for game number 1 of this EU versus NA battle. FlyQuest, I think probably feeling pretty good about this draft, but I think the same thing is going to be the case on the G2 side. So this is exactly what we wanted. Even footing, moving into game number 1. And let's see where the shenanigans will arise.
I guess I'm just a little surprised by how scaling-orientated G2 have gone. Traditionally, I expect them to have a little bit more skirmishing power, at least given how they've recently been playing in summer. So to see them lean more towards this, as Hans Sama has matched the swap on the top side of the map. So now that Caitlyn versus Corki is going to happen whether Masu wants to or not.
All right, and as we can see here, it was what we were talking about. It's like Season 1, but it's just in the top lane instead of mid.
Yep.
We've nailed it.
Both of them up here matching the AD carry swap. So Caitlyn with the long auto attack range and trying to use brush there for the headshots. See about the push on bottom side though as well. So G2 getting the push on bottom side as well as the push on top side with their Caitlyn.
Knockups, knockbacks, all sorts of things happening here towards this bottom side. If you were to adjudicate these 2v2s, how are we feeling?
I think Broken Blade and Labrov should have the push simply because Labrov is the only one with a ranged attack.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
He just gets to kind of hit you while you don't get to hit him. I think that once a couple levels come under the control, I don't know what I'm saying. Once they get more levels, it'll be better. More levels, good. FlyQuest bot lane.
Love it.
Alistar not known for his level 1 prowess at all.
2v1. Level 2 looking all right, though, as we can see. Bit of a pushback, but we don't want to watch that. Don't want to watch that because Labrov going for an early roam. Does get the meep slap, it doesn't land the Cosmic Binding, so Quad is going to be okay.
I accidentally said Busio is starting to move. That's how I'm so much used to seeing his
Busio's moving too!
Yeah, he is moving. Look at him go. As we get the flash away here, as Broken Blade getting himself out of there. It's not his turret that's there in this 2v1, and so does have to use the flash to avoid being headbutted to death.
So Busio moved less distance than Labrov, but it was more effective because he got a flash.
Very true. An early ward is utilized though. The pings have come down onto Busio as he looks for a bit of a roam. Oh, I say a ward. There is no ward. They're just reading the play very well. He's covering around this mid lane. Yeah. Making sure the Quad gets through it safely, and it looks like he's going to do just that.
So Masu with the early back on the Corki to get the tier purchase from the push from Caitlyn. And Hans Sama, the Caitlyn doing really well up there in the answered one-on-one swap. So Masu is going to be in a lot of pain. This wave is pushing away from him, pretty low on the CS count overall. And even though he went back to get a purchase, it's just a tier. That's not combat power for him.
Not going to quite be helping, but it does help the scaling. Trying to get to that 2-item spike as quickly as possible. Bit of a 2v1 here, but it looks like Broken Blade is going to be feeling just fine, as Caps is just eradicating the waves over and over again. And I'm feeling like if this game remains pretty slow, G2 are probably going to be pretty happy with it. Right now, Lebrov moving towards his top side. Master going to have to get out of there. Valkyrie employed nicely. Some more biffo here towards the bottom side of the map.
So just a small jungle thing is that Inspired did a full clear, got the Scuttle Crab on the top side, went back to base and is now picking up his Krugs. However, for Skewmond, he started on his Wolves. He doesn't have the same wave clear speed as the Wukong does, but what he does do is once he grabs the bot crab, he immediately goes back to the respawned Wolves already. So he's actually on pace in terms of jungle clear. He just hasn't had an opportunity to go back to base yet, which I imagine he's now going to do, impressively keeping up with the Wukong early clear.
Yeah, so just a clean re-clear for Inspired. He'll end up towards this top side. And again, the top side is kind of the success story so far for G2 with the Caitlyn prowess in the 1v1. And we'll see if Masu can recover here, because stacking up his tier, but is going to be pretty low if they do have that early skirmish up there. Of course, the Wukong is going to need another scuttle after the re-clear to try and get to the level 6.
Yep, Turtle Port meant that we had to wait a really long time for that seismic shove, as flash out from Lebrov didn't want to get pulverized there. So he's now going to be putting that one on cooldown. A couple of flashes have been employed here on G2's side, but no real capitalization just yet here from FlyQuest. And they are falling just further and further behind in farm, just naturally as this game goes on. As BB having fun with these tunnels, moves back towards the bottom side once again.
It's a very stock standard slow early game as Caps find some nice trades in mids. Both top laners continue to trade HP back and forth, but as you rightly said, really a lot of this gold advantage going the way of Hans Summit.
Yeah.
And once Caps catches this wave in mid, it should equalize the gold in the mid lane matchup as well.
You know what they say, Atlas, your network is your net worth. It's usually a business term. But for Rek'Sai, it's also true, because that allows you to escape ganks. And so you pre-make your network of tunnels to allow for outplays for later. You know, it's an investment.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. I actually hadn't heard that analogy before.
Yeah.
Well, BB currently has like one tunnel, so we're going to need to increase that network.
Is not that big
but like,
yet.
Does like more tunnels equal more tunnels? You know, is it exponential?
It is about quality of tunnel too. Yeah, so
okay.
you know, going
Absolutely.
inside of the dragon
all
pit.
tunnels aren't born equal. Is that sort of how it works?
Yeah, quite. Okay. Let's see. Top side here. This has been pain for me to watch, and it looks like it's going to continue to be pain.
Yeah, Busio is like, I don't want to take this, but I will. And does, and still they are looking a little worse for wear. Headbutt Pulverize here, as Busio does go in, but it's like, when it happened, I was like, I don't know whether this ends well for them, but there weren't too many other options, as Captain Quad just still hitting red dots. That's a really nice Pre-Seeker. Probably utilized his passive for that.
This could be a dragon start for G2. It's a little slow without your AD carry there, but given that they know Whippo's just gone back to base, with the push that they've been able to garner in mid lane, as I say that, the bounce back has come through now. It's Quad that moves into the river. Broken Blade needs to be careful.
Yeah, he's just sort of taking a beating here by Whippo, but there's those tunnels. That one probably not going to stick around, and oh no, tunnel removed.
I mean, what you'll notice Broken Blade do a lot is actually just move into that Tri-Brush to see if the Tremor Sense will pick up anyone roaming towards the bot side of the map, also keeping his eye on the dragon in case Inspired tries to start that one off, but it's been a very timid start for both junglers. As nice knockback.
Yeah, Quad finding the angle, the double pulverize, but there's not very many people here to follow up outside of just Quad himself. So it is just going to be Caps taking a fair bit of damage and then slinking away.
Yeah, looks like FlyQuest at least going to start up these grubs. Lebrov and Skewmon want to head over. Caps actually had to go get Honey Fruit though, so Caps is going to be a bit delayed getting to the grub fight. And you see Victor trying to clean up those minions by mid-tower, so that gives enough time there, enough priority for FlyQuest to grab at least the 2. They want the final grub for the Might.
Yep, they should be able to get it here as well, as in they go. Magical Journey does get Lebrov out of there. But that was just G2 watching as all of the grubs fell down, and Fly then just gets back away. Still behind in gold, but those grubs going to really help.
just a really nice awareness from Inspired, recognizing, oh, hang on, my mid laner has a health advantage. He's just chunked out enemy mid. We should have prio over this topside river. Corki can collapse first. And so an uncontested objective just from smart play there from the FlyQuest jungler.
And, you know, props to Quad for actually hitting that seismic shove and achieving the health difference.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, Inspired, good job. You recognized that your mid laner made a good play.
I'm gapping it, bro.
Quad with a big double seismic shove for the big chunk there. So, you know, nicely done. And we have had a really calm early start.
Yeah, this is kind of what I'm used to. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I'm feeling more and more at home as this game is going on. So I like it a lot. We call this the Bro and Brew. That's the state of this game.
In the middle of all that, Caps also got his first upgrade, which I imagine is that laser, which you now see on screen. The amount of wave clear that this Victor's going to have just exponentially increased, and now you expect Caps to pretty consistently be the first one to get that push in the 1v1 matchup. Once he gets full levels in that E and a little bit more itemization, he's going to absolutely melt those waves. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Broken Blade finds himself in a 2 versus 1, but I think G2's sights are very much set on this track.
Yeah, and both these teams pretty confident in their ability to team fight. Interesting little kind of deep invade here, though. Lebrov linking around the other side, so they have really good vision, super deep wards for G2 through the red quadrant of FlyQuest jungle. And as you saw, they push Inspired away from his Raptors, so yoink those on the way to their Dragon.
Oh, there's a stat that we need to find as well. What's the latest first blood in World's history? Ooh. We need to get that one. I don't have that one.
That's a good request.
That is a stat that I hope we don't beat in this game.
I'm thinking it makes it more interesting if there's no kills for the entirety of the game.
I love the reset that we just saw from Lebrov as the Dragon was being started, because he was aware that, oh, FlyQuest would look for a cross map here, so he wanted to be in position to try and protect Broken Blade in the event that a dive came through. Ooh, Caps, though, taking a bit of damage, but the minions kind of doing the same in response to Quad. But really good awareness from both supports overall in this game. They've been roaming very effectively, covering where it makes sense. Right now, Busio is just hovering around mid in the event that Caps overstays so that he can threaten a dive with Inspired over the wall. But TP going to come back through from Caps as he completes his first item.
And it's like everything's even. You know, I guess it's just grubs. So there's grub advantage for FlyQuest. But that is going to be, yeah, so that evens it out, the Dragon. But that means that also you've got, like, Feats of Strength is completely even. And so it's all just tied up.
They each have 1 foot.
Oh, yeah, true. That's what it is. They've got a foot of strength. It's all right. It's not very far, isn't it? I don't know how long a foot is. I do the meters thing. I'm sure it's about the same size as a foot. Never mind. Quad. Let's see where the gravity field is going to work. The Arcane Storm doing a fair bit at the same time. But the Seismic Shove also lands. Death Ray comes in. The Flash and First Blood is a Caps solo kill that's immediately answered here as Busio pushes him back underneath the turret. But man, we had no action and then a solo kill.
Yeah, I mean, Quad just kind of stands in there. He wants to commit to the play because Busio is coming, but Cap says, fine, I will flash in. I will make sure I get the kill before dying. Now, the FlyQuest one is assisted as far as the kill, so you get that extra 50%, you know, money for the team, but the focused gold does go into Caps. He did have to spend his flash, though, Vedius, so how are you feeling about, like, repeat plays there?
Oh, I mean, I think there's ample opportunity for FlyQuest, especially with the Wukong and the Alistair by your side. Caps, though, playing with confidence as he finds a solo kill in mid. In terms of the goal, it's not going to change that dramatically in the mid lane matchup, so I don't think Quad is too upset about what took place, but the fact that Caps is able to finish those upgraded boots means that he's now going to be a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I think that because Busio has Hex Flash on Alistar, as well as Spellbook, he's still going to have some mobility. He might need it.
Yeah, he is ghosting, so that's going to move him pretty quickly, but does just get into position here. Twisted Advance does come on down, but it's Skewmon that does get pulverized. Another brilliant flick from Quad to pull Skewmon back, and in the meantime, Caps, oh, that flash is gone, and Inspired will take him out because of it. Now Quad looking for that angle once again, and they have corralled them underneath this turret, but it looks like FlyQuest, they're just happy to get that one pick and then set themselves up elsewhere. They'll have inside track with mid lane, for example.
Yeah, we got an instant answer on our question. Is the Flash going to get punished? Yes, it is. Inspired immediately jumping on that, punishing that cooldown here for Flash, getting the kill. Wukong with Trinity Force, Vedius. It's the exact right time to go looking for a Victor wandering through the jungle. And
He doesn't see them because they're stood still.
Oh, the Flash Pulverize going to come on through. Another headbutt back here. Even the Valkyrie damage is helping out. Trample going to come on through, but he does have part of that network set. And the flash forward does need to come in, but it's not enough. The little bullet from the Corki couldn't do it. And out goes BB once again.
Rek'Sai so obnoxious to lock down as Labrov throws the ultimate mids.
Yeah, Tempered Fate comes on down there as Hansama gets on in. Didn't quite have the snap trap, but he just flashes over the seismic shove and will be able to get the last hit onto Quad. So Hansama going to even things up once again, as in this top lane, Whippo taking some damage from Caps.
Okay, so the gloves are coming off now from both sides. They're getting a little bit more warmed up on stage. Items are coming through, and they're looking to punish where they can. Mid lane has clearly been the focus from both sides, but Hansama picking up that kill will build him up to a huge lead of 1K over Masu.
And last time, Vedius, I was like, oh yeah, you know, Quad, he just took his death and it was good, you know, because Caps flashed and Quad didn't. But that one, well, wait a second.
Yeah, got a bit of a flash forward here from Whippo, who's gone all out onto Caps, has inspired alongside him, and down goes the Victor once again.
A fantastic punish comes through from Whippo. Again, Caps had no real way to get out of that situation given he had no flash available. The gravity field also just doing nothing to Whippo as he used his ultimate to get away from that. And with Inspired at his back, it's an easy pickup as FlyQuest get that feats of strength of 3 kills.
And the point I was about to make there, you know, about Quad, he should have flashed the Bard ulti. Like, Caitlyn is there, and Caitlyn's going to be able to follow up with the trap, so really nicely done from G2. But Quad, that time, holding a little bit too long on that flash. Maybe it will still be useful for a play imminently as they teleport up topside, and Busio is seen by the ward.
Yeah, this time BB just going to be able to make his way out, but saving the turret, that's a big deal. As FlyQuest, if they're able to get that first turret, that will be feats of strength locked in. At the moment we are locked down as far as the objective feats of strength are concerned, so another 2 going to be required from either team.
I mean, if you are a G2 fan right now, you're looking at Whippo and being like, that's kind of scary. If you're a FlyQuest fan, you're looking at Hansam and you're going, that's kind of scary. But admittedly, I don't think that she quite has the tools to get through what already feels like a very tanky Cassante, even though it's G2 that's first to this objective.
Trinity Forces are pretty good, aren't they, when they're built? As you can see, Hansama getting the brunt of that. Masu does have that first spike complete. I'm also looking at Inspired. I think he's pretty scary as well.
Absolutely. Double Training Force spike is a big one.
Yeah, redeeming Masu here. It does get the heal. Almost walks out a little bit early, but isn't going to.
Probably should trade the Dragon, yeah, for Rift Herald here for FlyQuest, because it is on a Caitlyn recall timer. Hans had a decent amount of money to spend. Full BF sword there back for him, so good value there for him. 2 dragons stacked up by G2, but again, the top side objectives, the Grubs and the Rift Herald, are the ones that turn into early game gold. And so FlyQuest here, if they can use this Rift Herald, knock down one of these outer towers, really does set them up for a lot of wait a seconds. Could they do it early here? They've got an Alistar as well, so Caps has to be a little bit careful. FlyQuest have been targeting him fairly successfully.
Right now, Labrov just using as much information as he can. I think Busio is unseen for the moment, but does just walk out of that brush. So now Quad on that gravity field, but his Caps just up here. Does get the flick back, very nicely done. 50% of his health bar goes missing. As Quad able to really handle the pressure here on this top side, and he needs to because this is very, very close to first turret blood going down in favor of G2.
We'll say, Whippo is building an even greater lead over Broken Blade. Getting that kill with the assistance of Inspired was a nice pick for sure, but on the side lane, I feel like that he just spent more time in lane, allowing him to build almost a full level advantage over his opposition as G2 set their sights on the tower.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp does come down as Caps is getting pushed out of the fight. Ace in the Hole comes on through here as well, but looks like G2 decide against going for anything more. Net over the wall will get Hansama to safety, and the Rift Herald going to then try and turn the tables as far as this push. And this could actually just be feats of strength right here as Shelly decides that she wants to give them over to FlyQuest, and that will come on through as soon as we deal with these minions. No real defense here by G2 going to get set up, and there she blows.
Tower achieved, as you say, the feats as well as the extra gold here. Soaked up by everybody, and Busio as well as Masu kind of helping Inspired usher that Rift Herald up to make sure there's no counterplay there from G2 to put a stop to it.
Inspired now now building a 1.4k gold lead of his own. Just been passively building up this farm, securing towers, and you can really see that gold advantage just slowly continuing to mount for FlyQuest. Obviously, the tension still feels very high because we're yet to see that first fight and how things will really play out in the 5v5. Both teams have really just been trading objectives, but Arakan alive in 1 minute and 5, along with the Dragon in 2 minutes' time. You expect these to be the next major objectives that both these teams will turn their attention to.
And honestly, I would expect Labrov to go for an ultimate on quad pretty early, ahead of time, if you can get that flash out from the Taliyah, or if you can even just make a play on him straight up. You know, the Bard has a lot of options at trying to make some plays preemptively before the Dragon. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds here on the clock for that one.
Yeah, there's 35 seconds on the Arakan as well. Who's going to be spawning towards that bottom side of the map. So does mean that that Dragon's even more dangerous because you can just follow it up immediately if you are able to win a fight prior to or after that Dragon being taken. So it could be a battlefield here in this game, because there hasn't been much of a battlefield so far. There's 5 kills all up, but it's a lot of posturing as Labrov able to walk out of the way of the wall. Seismic Shove does go wide as Hansama not quite able to get the net for the slow, but otherwise is able to get out of dodge. Still, Summoner Spell's now on cooldown, and that flash being down for the Caitlyn is a big deal as Labrov in the back of this pit just get flicked back, and I thought he was just going to magical journey out, but he doesn't.
Yeah, where are you going, buddy? Busio sits him down, and Whippo trying to sit Broken Blade down, but the flash is enough.
That's beautiful play-by-play there, Kobe. That's what we actually had some feedback after the last series. Well, we should probably have 2 play-by-plays because there's too much action. And see, we managed to utilize it here in this particular moment, as G2 able to eat the pressure towards the top side as well.
I mean, it feels as though FlyQuest is just getting these very small advantages that are turning into bigger ones, as, for example, on the bottom side of the map, Whippo getting the flash out from Broken Blade, on the top side, Quad getting the flash out from Hans, and that ultimately led to Labrov thinking, oh, I can still stick around, my magical journey should be off cooldown any minute now, but then he gets punished by Busio. A really quick flash to set up for the play gives FlyQuest another kill. 4-2 now, the advantage. 2k the gold lead, Dragon spawning in 9 seconds, and look at the TPs. G2 have a clear game plan in mind, and that is to force a fight around this objective.
And Hans is very close to item number 2 as well. It's going to be Infinity Edge. As far as 2 item spikes, it's probably the best that you can get for the Caitlyn. He's not quite there yet, but still, G2 have so much control of this area. Nature's Grasp for holding on to control as well is so incredibly good. Hex Flash going to get channeled here as Busio looking for an angle towards Caps, perhaps, as he gets taken down so incredibly low. Unbreakable Will comes in, and now you've got Whippo trying to make the difference with Tempered Fate to hold them in position. Hansama in so much trouble, and he does get taken down. Inspired to grab first blood in the fight. Busio is going to be the answering kill, and Broken Blade takes down Busio as well. It's FlyQuest that can actually answer back as Caps trying to do some of the damage, but doesn't quite manage to do so. And it's a big win here for FlyQuest.
Yeah, huge engage there. Busio threatens around the top side. Inspired just goes straight in through the Dragon Pit. Look at Inspired go straight onto Hansama. They put so much pressure on this Caitlyn. Busio's threatening around the outside, but there goes the flash. Inspired is in. He ults and then clones away from the gravity field to stay on the Caitlyn.
And I just love the target focus because Whippo is right there with him as Busio sets his sights onto Caps, trying to mitigate the other damage dealer from doing what he can. And as we mentioned in draft, once the Caitlyn is gone, the front line really doesn't have that much to worry about. So Caps is forced to disengage, and FlyQuest find a beautiful fight. And crucially, they take away that Dragon Soul point from G2.
Yeah, after Inspired was able to finish off the Caitlyn, he then had a Q come up, and he just Q smited the Dragon right in front of Skumon to yoink that objective as well. So FlyQuest, this is something they're so well known for in North America. You know, give up the first couple of dragons, invest all of your money into this third dragon fight, and they really pulled that one off quite well to bring the game under their control.
Yep, and Hansama didn't have the Infinity Edge for that last fight, right? We hit like the perfect 2-item spike that we talk about for Corki all the time. Muramana was in there, Masu was able to stay alive, keep doing that DPS, and him and Quad have been able to do a lot. Quad especially, man, this guy has looked so good in this game on this Taliyah thus far, and 2 items have now been completed as the Leandries is now done as well. They'll grab themselves another turret, and they are starting to really roll this snowball down the hill.
Yeah, I like that you're going, wait a second, this one's just for fun.
It's a bit of an exciting one here, as we do get a bit of a stun onto Skumon, but he gets himself out. That's a headshot. That's a lot of damage onto Masu. Does need to be a little bit careful. The Infinity Edge is done.
I like that you're, really complimenting Quad there, though, because he's been so aggressive with all these seismic shove chunks, has opened up a lot of small opportunities for FlyQuest so far, and he's able to finish off that mid tower. So that's all 3 outer towers down now for G2. They have no longer any outer defenses, and FlyQuest immediately pulled the trigger on the Otacon.
Yeah, there is a ward still here, though, for G2, so they know the size of this health bar. As you can see, Bwipo just trying to stand in front of them.
He's
to
far.
keep them out of this one, as my goodness, he's so incredibly tanky at the same time. Is G2 going to have to deal with him first? The wall goes down just to try and keep him alive. There's a Pulverize as well as Broken Blade. Gets himself out of there. Now the Nature's Grasp does fly past. But the Otacon will just turn its sights onto G2 this time. Down to about 4K as FlyQuest possibly out of this. There's a flash forward from Busio, but I don't know about it. The flick back, though, is gorgeous, and Skewmon put in position, but unable to get the smite. That one's going to go to Inspired. As the gravity field goes down, the Arcane Storm doing nothing. Master going to take down Caps, who cannot get it done. Now Broken Blade buying some space. They only lose one, but Otacon, such a big deal.
FlyQuest play with such patience. Quad with a fantastic ultimate to start that fight off because it isolates Broken Blade. It looked like Bwipo was the one that was caught out of position. He was so far up the river without the support of his team, but then Quad's ulti completely changed that dynamic. And the reason why it's important is because it forces the ulti out from the Brav. So here you're thinking, wow, Bwipo, you're way too deep, but look on the left. A beautiful ultimate comes through. Then Labrov reactively uses his ultimate, but to no effect. Now the Maokai ultimate is gone. Labrov's ultimate is gone, and it makes it easy for Fly for the re-engage.
And then it still comes down to a clutch smite fight right here. Maokai gets knocked in, tries to go for the Q smite, but Inspired clutches out the smite on the Otacon to get that one, and it is huge. Then Caps just gets jumped on. Masu Valks forward, and since Bwipo teleported in, Bwipo's back to help him out.
I mean, just great patience being demonstrated by FlyQuest as now Broken Blade in a lot of danger.
Or is he? I mean, this is the Rek'Sai situation, right? It always looks like he's in danger, and then I do that play-by-play thing where it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna die, and then he never does. Well, let's see whether he does here. See, that thing. Let's see whether he, no, it just doesn't happen, as he has just eaten a whole lot of pressure in this game.
I gotta be honest, Vedius, it's looking a lot like MSI to me.
I mean, right now, yeah, we haven't really seen any proactivity from G2, and again, one of the big question marks for this team is seeing Skewmon and Labrov work together. But when Skewmon is on a champion like Maokai, well, he has been playing it extensively throughout the year. In summer, that's really not been their motif. Things like the Wukong, the Xin Zhao, the Pantheon, things that he can have a lot of agency and playmaking to try and play through mid. Work with Labrov is what we've been seeing a lot more of. But it feels like that they've taken a much more passive approach, and while their laners have been doing pretty well, FlyQuest have just found way more punishes. They punished Caps a lot in a side lane. They got Hans Summer's flash out from him ahead of a major fight, and just the timings and punishes from FlyQuest have been fantastic.
And the desk was talking about it, right? It was the fact that Inspired has been a little bit quiet this Worlds. Well, I'm looking at this game, I'm feeling like Inspired's been pretty loud. 3-0-2 currently on the Wukong, as Bwipo just constantly keeping G2 at bay. Standing in front, he's a bouncer this game, and that is going to mean that we've evened out the Drakes between the two squads. A quad stack Chemtech Soul would be a lot of healing and shielding power.
It certainly would. Busio is ghosting again.
Oh dear.
To Hex Flash over. Do they actually make a catch here, though? That's pretty far. Yeah.
It's a dangerous one. Bwipo not going to be getting over the wall. They just clear out vision, and it's all going to be fine. But FlyQuest have not been giving up space. They've been playing slowly, but they've been just constantly encroaching on G2. It's like creep spread or something like that, to use a StarCraft reference.
And something that FlyQuest are just so ultimately confident in is always their team fighting ability and choosing the correct timers here. And they have just out-executed in these fights over and over again. It's not quite a blowout or anything, but they do feel very much in control.
Absolutely, and what was a massive advantage between the two AD carries in favor of Vansummer now has shriveled into nothing. The item advantage is in favor of Masu. He has the gold advantage, he has the experience advantage, and you can understand why throughout his career he is 9-0 on the champion, and he's looking to make it 10, as right now FlyQuest holds on to a 4.9k gold lead here in game 1.
This Baron certainly looking like something that could try and get a blowout as far as that gold advantage is concerned, put themselves into a winning position. G2, we mentioned it already, right? Like, if this composition can just stick around, right? Then it does have a lot of options later on in the game. Like, you get to max items on a Caitlyn, she has so much range, it's really, really hard to get to her, and she does so much damage, but they have to get there. As Ace in the Hole comes through, Bwipo ignores it, and it bounces off him, or something like that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I think so far, the problem for G2 is that, yeah, you know, you've got Caitlyn and Victor range for later, but FlyQuest engagers are supremely confident. Inspired and Busio are the best players on the team and constantly will look for these super hard engages really quick. So it's like, they have to have really good like Maokai and Bard ultimates in order to navigate that team fight.
And they were picked together, right? Like, this was part of that Wombo combo that you're trying to set up. We haven't quite seen it just yet.
It's a really important purchase for Hansama there. The LDR are going to help get through some of the resistances that Bwipo is going to be bringing, but a level 16 Cassante.
I feel like even items, though, between Corki and Caitlyn, you're still feeling like Corki's fine. I think 4 items, you're like, I'm starting to be very scared of this Caitlyn. So a bit more time for G2, maybe.
So frontline-wise, I just think that Bwipo is a lot scarier than what Broken Blade brings. You should start winning out on these trades against Bwipo, though, as you can start to see.
Well, getting a bit aggressive, doesn't land that Q3. Skimond is taking his time with this blue buff. Does look like Bwipo isn't too worried about it, though. Man, there's such a wet noodle fight, isn't it?
They are farming the damage stat right now.
Yeah, this is just, it's just grass.
Let's pump those numbers up.
Yeah. And look, they did get a bunch of stacks, so nicely done there, guys. But not really too much going to come of it. So I think, like, maybe as nothing happens, it's G2 favored, but it's still feeling like the game is very much in control of FlyQuest, and as they get more and more vision control, the Baron becomes easier and easier. It's hard to work it out, guys.
The Baron is very scary against the Maokai, of course, especially given that at any point the Bard can completely change the dynamic of the fight, whether that be maybe hitting onto your backline so that no longer you have any damage threats, or even if it's just hitting the Baron to stall and now you're just trapped in the pit waiting for this thing to wear off. FlyQuest are respecting that objective wisely, especially given that they are stacking these dragons and know that the next dragon is a minute away.
And FlyQuest are clearly like delineating every moment that have an item power spike, then we go for our fight. They got Guardian Angel now on Inspired. This completely changes how you're able to play a team fight as Wukong. You know, you can just actually turbo into the center of the enemy team, even if they are able to delay. He has a Guardian Angel to get back up, allows some really aggressive clone plays as well for Inspired. So, you know, that's a big break point. And then if that death cap does get completed by Quad, you will see FlyQuest be the ones to force the issue.
Yep, that is massive damage prepared here, and he might actually have it on this back right now. And it's a Talia, so even if he didn't have teleport up, he would still have the ability to wall over there. And also, if he didn't have wall, he'd just go fast. It's very unfair. So he's not going to have any issues making his way back out, but does decide to use the teleport to bring him in here. So with that cool new hat, double item spikes, Kobe. Is this going to be enough for FlyQuest to look for a teamfight angle? Because it's also soul point for both teams. Bwipo goes forward, but isn't going to be able to find too much more. Inspired, look at that flank angle. As the knockup does come through there on Busio, the explosive damage is massive. The wall comes through just to make sure that Caps cannot get in. Hansama not able to find Busio, but now the Unbreakable Will is worn off. Is this just going to be soul point over to G2?
Yeah, I think they get it. You know, FlyQuest, basically Busio's out of the fight now. An Alistar low health with no ultimate doesn't get to do much at all. They just call it off. Yeah, FlyQuest, after they see that, they call off the play, and G2 win the objective with their burst damage on the Alistar.
My goodness, that headshot this definitely hurts.
It kind of epitomizes this game, though, because it was a team fight. No one died. One team walked away and another team got a Drake that wasn't even a soul, so it's not even really going to change the next 5 minutes. But if G2 are able to get the soul, that could be a big deal. And now FlyQuest looking for this Baron. G2 in position, though. They still have a lot of buttons up and available. It's only the ace in the hole that they really used. And so Inspired going to back away. They're not going to go for any 50-50s. It's Broken Blade in an uncomfortable position, but the seismic shove isn't going to find the mark. As they all get themselves out, there's the Nature's Grasp as G2 are actually looking for it here, but it's a clone that eats that up. One of the benefits of being Wukong into the Maokai, of course.
Such a big ultimate used when Baron is being threatened though, and look at these waves. Bot is now bouncing back in favor of FlyQuest. Top is pushing in favor of FlyQuest. FlyQuest are also going to get to the mid wave first, which means that G2 have pressure really starting to build up everywhere on the map, giving FlyQuest more and more control around the objective. That control ward in the back of the pit is really the only thing that's giving G2 vision, and Inspired is going to take that one away, start the objective up once again.
Yeah, Megacone is going to be denied here at the same time as Whippo just patrolling the edge of this Baron pit. They do pull off though, as you can see, Quad's in that mid lane. And the wall is going to come down. Caps is going to be separated from the rest of the team. Ace in the hole comes in. Inspired going to eat that one for Quad to keep him in the fight. Whippo now taking some real damage here from this Caitlyn.
All right, Caps is for sure the target here for FlyQuest. No flash on the Victor. Busio and Inspired will look to target him, and he's getting chunked as well.
These rockets really starting to hurt. As man, this is so incredibly intense.
Look at the waves though again. We talked about them earlier. FlyQuest have pressure everywhere on the map. They're going to quickly go for the reset. G2 doing what they can, but finally Caps will have that opportunity to go back to base, spend what gold he can. And impressively, G2 managed to hold the line. I really thought that that was going to be the moment where they lost the whole fight, because FlyQuest was just navigating everything so well. They just barely get away with the skin of their teeth. And FlyQuest, as they should, turn their attention back towards the Baron. It's really the objective that they're going to need to close out the game. And this is the only scary part for FlyQuest. The later into the game you go, obviously the gold just matters less. And so once this Caitlyn and Victor get to 5 items, obviously like the fights are going to be a lot scarier for them. They need to leverage the advantage that they have right now.
Well, this could be certainly leveraged as Caps walks a little bit too far away from his turret and will just be taken out by Busio. Beautifully done.
That is the name of this game. It has been kill Caps. It's either burn his flash or repeat attack and just kill him again. Busio finds the Victor wandering through the jungle again. What can FlyQuest do with the timer?
Well, perfect position. Great sidesteps there from Broken Blade, though, to make sure that he's not knocked back there from the Natofo strikes. Inspired, though, already right on top of this Baron. Skewmon in the area, but it's going to be so difficult to stop this Baron from going down. The flash in, the headbutt back! As Skewmon's flash is now on cooldown. Redemption for a bit of extra damage at the same time as FlyQuest, they kept the Baron leashed. All of this vision getting taken away over and over again. And this Baron down to 4,000. Do they opt in for it? Because Skewmon can't get over the wall. It's going to be impossible for them to stop this, and the Baron will be taken by FlyQuest. The discipline in this game is obscene by FlyQuest.
FlyQuest, I gotta say as well, we warned you, there might be a support diff. Busio is cracked, man. This guy is just doing so much. He found the Victor, he set up the play onto Caps, then he goes around, sets up another play. They get Skewmon's flash. He goes over the back of the red buff wall, and FlyQuest just claim their objective without technically winning a team fight, but just picking apart G2 beforehand.
And the craziest thing about it was he was spotted thanks to the Rek'Sai, and it looked like he was the one that was going to get caught, but he was so quick with it. He didn't hesitate. He just flashes in, targets Skewmon, and you realize that, hang on a minute, that Maokai with no flash, he's got no way into the pit. There is no risk of a 50-50. Beautifully done by FlyQuest. 30 seconds until the dragon spawns. I mean, ideally, I think that they should just abandon it and just focus on sieging. They want to get as much out of this Baron as possible.
We also need to delay Elder Drake for as much as possible as well, because we want this game to go for about 70 minutes if possible.
For G2's credit, it is hard to push on these Caitlyn trap lines, but never mind.
Flash is going forward here as the wall comes down, and Hans Sama just blows up. The inner turret is going to go down, and Skewmon is running the wrong direction. Bit of a jungle v jungle here as he gets the Teemo thumbs up. I don't think Skewmon's going to feel okay about it. Nimbus Strike comes forward. Inspired finishes him off, and I think this is the end of the game, as FlyQuest will slowly but surely, methodically tear G2 apart here in game 1. Busio going forward one more time. The Tempered Fate comes down for a bit of fun as the Nexus turrets, one already down, the second one to follow. Masu right in their face. The Arcane Storm not doing too much of anything, and the Nexus will now go down. Trading places here is Masu and Broken Blade, but down goes the Nexus, and it's FlyQuest up 1-0.
What a beautiful ending fight. They make me eat my words instantly. I'll just flash over.
They're less, and he's a huge Soraka fan. So I'm like trying to check my bias here, because I normally used to saying, oh wow, what an incredible Soraka angle. But I don't know.
His default to
Yeah, I have to just default to it because otherwise, like, I'm wrong. He's like, I like that, but you're wrong. Or he's like, no, Atlas, you idiot. It's definitely a Soraka record.
For me, when I think about Soraka, like, there's the old school memes of her being the ambulance, right?
Yep.
But if a champion survives an Aurora burst, like, you're then out. You know what I mean? Like, that champion no longer provides the same value that it did, and Soraka can basically mitigate that whole burst threat immediately. So even if Aurora drops this huge 5-man ulti down on top of you, an ulti in response from Soraka can just nullify that and almost reset the team fight. So I see the value, especially against these burstier champions. The biggest weakness for Soraka has historically been that she is a low mobility support that is easy to catch out. So positioning is super important. And also it does limit Busio's just ability to roam. What I think he's been very good at is bridging that early game gap. I don't know if he can do that on a champion like Soraka.
Or you can roam really fast when your teammates are low health.
Also true.
And you can just be the super speed ambulance. Also, I've got a theoretical combo for you.
Okay.
If you get the Annie flash big stun and layer the silence under it really easily, then it just further extends this really big engage.
I was thinking as well that it could work quite effectively into a Galio when you know that he's going to be coming down in a certain location. You can greet him with a few of those circles that you're capable of putting down. You can see Busio already looking majestic in that bottom lane.
You're a fan of labeling new names for circles. How about a silent circle? Have you done that one before?
The Silurcle is one of my all-time favorites. Oh, that's a beautiful...
It's kind of rare. There are not very many silences in the game.
And if they ever did exist, like the Silorb, which is Malzahar's one, that's now gone.
Yeah.
The Sigil of Silence that then became Malice from LeBlanc, also another one that is taken away. And Cho'Gath has a cone, and I don't want to do it with a cone. I feel like
I was about to make a joke.
We'll stick with round things.
I was going to get Kobe to talk, and then I was going to silence him.
Pretty good.
Silobi?
Oh no! Don't do that. We'll have to leave, I think.
Here's the poke I was talking about, though. So we'll see how effective this is, because Han's already chugging a potion here as Busio landed the first Q and the second.
And when
this isn't balanced at all. Okay.
The poke. Attack Soraka is very powerful.
This is working pretty effectively. Maybe the best thing against all this healing is to keep them at full health so they can't heal.
Boom.
There you go. Counted.
I mean, so
see it every Q?
Two wards were thrown bot lane by G2, one from the Galio and then one from Hansama. Both have now been cleared out. And notice as well, Inspired pathing towards the bot side of the map. I wasn't expecting the threat of a dive from a Soraka, but now I'm a little bit more inclined by the idea.
Nice little stun to come through here from Quad as just preparing himself, or trying to prepare himself for having a Soraka move up towards his lane.
Answer's at 5 CS.
I'm liking it. You know, the poke damage from lane versus a Xayah, a typical weakness for the champ. Okay, jungles though. So jungles are both clearing down here as we are really focused on this champion. And they should both have pretty good info on each other as well. So you can just surmise the timing will be fairly similar. And there's already the pre-existing Pixel Brush ward for FlyQuest, so they should relent.
Cool, great entrance.
Nice silence. So the knockup comes through, the silence immediately drops. That means Hansama can't respond with a Q. So the ability to Q into auto into root was effectively mitigated just by dropping a silence. Well played there by Busio.
It's nicely done. Taunt comes through here as well towards this top side as the Galio doing what it's supposed to. Winning out in this lane is Inspired. Going to move down towards this bottom side to try and help out. Oh, Skewmon knows exactly what's going on. The Battle of the Crab is going to come on through. And he gets that ward in, so Inspired starting this fight off already. Quad's roaming over at the same time as Skewmon is so incredibly low. Busio gets on in here. Heals them up. And they're not going to be able to quite find first blood just yet, but it will mean they get the crab.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And
Inspired jumps in on the fight because he knows Skewmon is queuing the ward. So Qmon uses Chomp, Inspired goes in.
I like that, Qmon. That's a good one.
He did get the ward.
Yeah.
Qmon's got the ward.
We're just renaming people all over the place on this broadcast. That's what we're doing. And it's really adding to it. It's a yes from me. It's flash out from Bwipo as the pillar was put in the perfect position to make sure that that flash was needed.
The wave now in an awkward spot, but I don't think it's going to matter too much because Broken Blade is passive, like they're going to push that wave back underneath. Bwipo's tower. The bot lane, though, going so well for Marsu and Busio. They're getting a little bit of revenge after what happened in game 1, where Hansama was really bullying Marsu out on the Corki. But now with this Soraka, they have all the sustain that they need. They're trying to quickly shove this underneath the tower so that they can go back to bases. Hans is going to come back out with a cull. I feel like Marsu's going to come out with a little bit more damage than that.
I would certainly hope so. Lucian with a pretty big buy here. Is worth saying too, you know, maybe this flash down on Bwipo could result in a return play. I mean, Trundle into Galio definitely has the ability to lock him down, so we'll see if it makes it more difficult for Bwipo to play his lane on that top side. Of course, it is top-down clears, and both junglers know the routes of their opponents, so both of them know, yeah, Trundle should be in bottom camps now, so you've got a little time to work with.
And one good thing as well is we don't have to worry about a Soraka with an Ocean Soul, which just sounds awful. That one's going to be the first one. Still ones to worry about are, of course, Mountain and Chemtech, which synergize with her quite nicely as the game goes on.
I will also say that I know coming into this series there were some concerns about this mid lane matchup, and even though Quad did get solo killed in game 1, his use of the Talia ults were fantastic, and in this laning phase he's really been out trading Caps, like sidestepping the skill shots coming out from Caps and then trading back in kind, and you can see he's built up a pretty healthy CS lead in the 1 versus 1, about a wave and a half of an advantage, and now he's even on the roam as he sets his sights towards bot lane.
Yeah, well and truly overloading this one. As wards go down, looks like G2 doesn't have much of an idea of what's happening here, but they are not going to be attacked just yet.
And Quad has gone for the electrocute version of Annie this time around for the extra burst damage, not the safety of the phase rush. So sometimes you can get into a tight spot when Trundle comes over for pillars. You don't have the phase rush to easily get away from the slow, but it just means you have to have really good usage of your shield speed.
Yeah, and that shield speed right there. Being able to avoid some damage, very nicely done by Quad. Honestly, Quad's been playing phenomenally well this series so far. That looks to be continuing as Caps will just comfortably clear out the wave.
He's missing a lot of CS though. Just a couple last hits going wide. And again, like these Qs from Caps just aren't connecting, and Quad just keeps getting these HP advantages, so he's really getting the better of Caps in the 1v1. Inspired, knowing that he has push on the bot side and the fact that his mid lane is winning out, allows him to secure this dragon. But Skewmont doing what he can elsewhere on the map as he looks to steal away this blue buff. But already off to a strong start from FlyQuest as they have control over bot mid.
Yeah, there's also a minute until the grubs are up as well, so it does give FlyQuest the ability to reset for that one. As the blue buff is taken, Bwipo does get the information that it is gone. As some more fighting here towards the bottom side. The snare is going to come through, but not much of a follow-up here as FlyQuest are looking to relocate this bottom lane, likely towards the top side, and to welcome the grubs.
So next thing that FlyQuest have to look at and be a little bit cognizant of is the big like pincer movement with the double solo lanes from G2. You know, Galio has the ability to walk like halfway up and then use ultimate to close the rest of the distance. So even though Broken Blade and Bwipo both use their teleports, Galio is a little bit different and could turn the tides towards a grub fight. And grubs are arriving fairly soon, so FlyQuest do have to keep that in mind. You know, they have some champions that can get caught out. And so Inspired, at least he is up to his level 6 now on the Xin, so he has the ultimate, the extra safety there. He's going to pull pretty early, and they do see Galio all the way in the bottom on that lane, and nice little chunk.
Ow. Yeah, Caps taken down to about 100 here, as Tibbers is just going to usher him out of the lane. Hansama does have now the help of Labrov, but this should mean that FlyQuest get full control of these grubs, but Skewmon comes on around. Busio is going to face check, but once again, getting a bit of a speed up, and it looks like he's able to make his way back towards Inspired. Teleport comes in as Caps, making his way towards the fight, and the grubs are going to reset.
And Galio is making the roam I was talking about. He's about to mid lane now, so he is within ult range. FlyQuest have to evacuate.
They are going to be able to get themselves out of there. Busio was, I mean, he's so incredibly squishy, right? So if anyone on G2 gets their hands on him, this Soraka is going to go down, as the grubs will go G2's way, and a trade of objectives here to start this one off.
Genuinely impressed that G2 got away with that, because FlyQuest did exactly what they needed to. Quad dropped his burst in mid lane to force Caps to be way too low. And on the top side, they also forced a trade against Hansama, so the AD carries also had a health advantage in favor of FlyQuest. But that TP from Caps really changed the dynamic. TPing into the top river actually allowed him to group faster with his team. And then as Kobe highlighted, the Galio row meant that he could also arrive earlier. And the fact that Bwipo didn't have his TP meant that what was initially a really good setup from FlyQuest, the numbers advantage quickly went the favor of G2.
Yeah, I think Broken Blade, some good Broken Blade diff on the bottom side. He pushed the wave so far. Bwipo probably told his team, sorry guys, you're out of luck. I got to deal with these minions. I need this money. You know, Galio's going to roam up and threaten it. And so the Grubs, an interesting price. It ends up being, you know, 1-for-1 on objectives since FlyQuest took the Dragon a long time ago. But they would have loved to steal away one Grub before that roam timing came in. Yeah. And we even saw Inspired kind of pull it.
Oh, Cullen coming on down here, as a fair bit of poke damage is going to be done, but it's not going to really solidify any sort of big lead or advantage here, as it was only able to get them down to about half.
I've really come to like the NA Lucian over the years. I feel like it's
grown on me too.
Yeah.
We were traumatized for a long time. We had a lot of failures with this champion, but we have had a lot of successes.
Yon was another one I remember.
Well. Yeah.
Ooh, Tibbers playing some defense here for Quad. Meanwhile, towards the top side of the map, some aggression as Masu going down very low. Battle Busio here on the Soraka is just pushing them away. And Masu will be alive for now. Very, very low on mana and health, though, so it does need to be a little careful, although Hansama also similar situation.
I didn't quite see from the start, but I think Labrov had Ignite, which makes it so much scarier against the Soraka, just because of the grievous wounds that it does apply. Busio getting dangerously low, but he ends up walking away just fine. Oh, I apologize, Masu is the one that ended up getting very low. The bases will now come through from the bot lane of G2, and we find ourselves with another very even early game.
Yeah, even and not necessarily finding too much action, although I feel like we're fighting more. But there's also a Soraka in the game, so you can fight as much as you like, and then no one dies. That can happen. So I'm going to let them off the hook. Probably still trying to be more aggressive than the last game, but not necessarily working here, as the gold incredibly even. And the next Drake going to be up in 30 seconds' time. We might get a team fight over that one after what we saw at the Grubs.
Trinity Force completed. The Trinity Force here for Skewmond Trundle is definitely going to be a large threat for Inspired now. For the small window where Inspired's still trying to cobble together.
Oh, I think it is Sundered Sky timing though here for
He's gonna get it.
Inspired, but can he actually get back out onto the map afterwards? Because 5 seconds until this Dragon is up and available.
Okay.
And FlyQuest not quite in position to fight for it with only Busio and Masu in the area.
Skewmon doesn't want to waste any time. He's not even pulling the objective out. He's just going to melt through it. Inspired saying, nah, not worth it. I'm just going to go clear my topside camp. So Drakes are going to be equalized. G2 with a slight advantage in that department. But again, the gold really going the way of FlyQuest pretty much everywhere around the map.
And this is something that from game number 1, there was only one real small hiccup for FlyQuest, and that was the fight around Dragon 3 where Busio got chunked so heavily with the headshot. But FlyQuest clearly, they were like, okay, we call it off, fine, you chunked us, we're not gonna fight this fight. This time around, they're like, you know what, okay, Inspired missed the timing on the first item, you've got Trinity Force Trundle, whatever, we're not gonna fight this fight. Inspired just immediately walks towards topside camps. Bwipo just keeps on pushing, we're just gonna go for gold instead. And so they're fine giving it up the Dragon. FlyQuest do not opt into fights if they don't have strong conditions ready.
Skewmon has snuck in here.
Yeah, you don't get to opt into all the fights, though. Sometimes the fights come to you.
Oh, this happening as Labrov makes his way over. They're looking for the dive. Knockup does come on through as Busio gets the wish out, but there is first blood going over to the Trundle here at 13 minutes. The culling to soften them up, but Masu might even be in trouble himself as G2 do decide to back away.
Yeah, really good Trundle pillar here. And Busio does not want to flash early. So Busio goes down, no flash invested.
I mean, I could understand why he thinks with the heals at his disposal that he would be able to get out of that situation. Masu, though, feels that he's got his jungler at his back, and G2 will respect it. There's Inspired.
Yeah, he's moving up now. I don't think they're going to be able to kill them, but he does at least move G2 away. Stands his ground as Quad. Very far up here in this lane, but the pillar is not quite going to work out there for Skewmon. It was an optimistic one at best.
But I'm really impressed with how much he is outplaying Caps in the 1v1. Now like a 2-3 wave of farm over his lane opposition, a 400 gold lead just simply from farm and the plate that he was able to get. It's like Caps is having a bit of an uncharacteristic series, the man that Europe often leans on when it comes to these high-pressure situations. In Game 1, he was getting caught off a lot in the side lanes, and now in Game 2, falling short in the 1v1 against Quad. Definitely not something I was expecting.
And the thing that's crazy is Annie's even fine if she's behind.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
You always can just drop it there and get an AoE stun, and it's very valuable. This Annie's kind of accelerated. With that Malignance now done, going to be able to drop a lot of bears. And we do now have 12 seconds on the Rift Herald, so we'll see who's going to be able to get set up for that one. Busio here in mid lane for now. Looks like Fly do want to fight for it, but Whippo's also in trouble. Equalizer goes down, flashes away, and just gets chomped down by Skewmon. That's 2-0 for the Troll. And now without Equalizer and the Rumble, it's going to be hard for Fly to fight for this one.
Skewmon with some active plays. This is a much better look for G2 and for Skewmon. Skewmon makes the gank on bottom side, Vedius, then he makes the gank on top side, and a repeat gank as well.
Yeah, makes another gank towards his top side. Good flash out there as the Wish comes through as well, but it's not going to work. It's 3-0 in the kills as G2 lock down those feats of warfare, and FlyQuest, they need to do something about this Troll.
Yeah, the Troll is controlling the game. Where the Troll goes, G2 wins. And now there is a teleport back out for Whippo. He has been able to wait out his death timer, and so that's going to put a little bit of a pause on things. Quad being down though, and Quad does not have teleport when he gets back up. Still a few seconds left on that one.
Well, Whippo realizing the return of Skewmon is coming on through, but the rest of his team moving on up at the same time. Audacious charge there from Inspired to try and close the gap momentarily. G2 in position to try and fight for this, but Khan Summer is a little further away from everyone else. We have a reset now coming on through, but FlyQuest think it's too dangerous. Not going to commit to this, and Shelly just getting bothered over and over again by both teams.
So to go back a little bit, my main criticism of the play from G2 was that I think Caps was just a little too itchy to TP. He had a completely uncontested wave in bot lane. That tower was completely open, and he TP'd top to what felt like an already secured play. I felt like that if they'd immediately converted that into a Rift Herald, it would have been fine, but they didn't. Instead, Broken Blade actually goes back to base. Han Summer's a little bit too low on HP, so he also backs off. And now this objective that G2 initially had position on, they're forced to concede it. Now, does it mean a huge amount? Not necessarily, because Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, and I imagine that's G2's bigger prize. But yeah, now they don't have that TP available for Caps, and he's still on the top side of the map.
Well, Rift Herald is just immediately going to be put down here in this mid lane. That could be first turret. Going on over to FlyQuest.
Pillar.
Yeah, let's see whether it is going to come through, and there it is. Skewmon able to lock that one down as we have the ulti from Caps towards the top side. Whippo in trouble, but he's just kept alive by the ambulance. And now Quad, an awkward position for him as well, as Caps finds some damage there. Into the backline goes Broken Blade. They're kind of taking it in turns to annoy FlyQuest, and it's working very nicely as G2 keeping these health bars pretty up there. And FlyQuest starting to look a little worse for wear. Caps taking some damage. The Witch comes down yet again. The Equalizer not quite doing that much as Inspired goes in. Looking for LeBron, but he gets himself out. The Crescent Guard comes through as well as Broken Blade comes down from the heavens. Inspired's just looking unkillable on this Sin's out, but G2 just won't go down.
Yeah, G2, they all live. Are FlyQuest going to try and rush the objective? I don't think that's possible here. They all get out there in the end. The flash away keeps Caps alive, keeps Lebrov alive.
Lebrov, his heal on the Q, and now Masu's in danger.
Yeah, there is the Galio in there as well, as Masu does get that flash off. Winds of War not quite doing too much damage here, so he is going to be able to stay alive, but it's a big flash now down on FlyQuest 80 carry.
All right, well, G2's getting scrappy with it. But we look back at this fight, and it's Whippo that's isolated. Broken Blade and Skewmon see an angle, but this Rumble Ultimate actually does so much damage. Skewmon gets forced incredibly low. LeBron the same. Inspired sees an angle, so he forces the fight. But then this disengage comes through from G2. Hans puts the feathers down. He roots up his opposition. And as FlyQuest is chasing this little heal that comes through from LeBron, just giving them enough HP to get them to safety, they're forced to back away.
Nice, guys.
But it ends up being a 1-for-0, no objective.
Everyone is full HP, I think, and they burst someone. So any poke we get without dying is so strong for us. It's so good for us.
Yeah, well, not a lot of dying has been happening here in this game as Papa, not looking too happy there. But already up 1-0 in the series. I think probably chin up, Papa, you know?
Inspired highlighting how they want to use Soraka, you know? They're like, okay, if they get a little poke or whatever, we need to utilize that extra regeneration.
They don't want a fast fight at all. FlyQuest definitely prefer the kind of war of attrition, especially when they know they'll have the HP advantage.
Yeah.
And it's such a tightrope as well when you're playing with a Soraka, because you're really good into burst that doesn't kill you. But as soon as the burst kills you, Soraka is useless.
Suddenly, she loses value.
Yes. So as Caps gets more and more items, is able to do that big damage. Doesn't necessarily have a huge burst build right now. That could be happening as we get later and later into this game. And especially if it's Busio that immediately dies, the Soraka is going to have no value at all.
Yeah. My main thing is that FlyQuest, well, hold on a second.
Yeah, Skimon once again making his presence known as in goes Inspired. He is difficult to kill, as we do have a lot of damage coming down. Caps finding the angle for the ulti, but look at this! This Soraka is ludicrous! Making sure that he throws band-aids to everyone, and they are all just gonna be okay. FlyQuest now moving on towards this Otacon. As Lebrov eating some honey fruit, but it looks like they'll be able to use these lower health bars to push them away. And now Bwipo is just burning him down. Might be a little bit of a bridge too far, but it doesn't actually happen. Equalizer is confusing. And I'll leave it at that. But the Otacon down to 50%. Broken Blade teleports in, but isn't going to be able to do too much more because the map is dark and full of terrors and bananas.
Yeah, the Bwipo Rumble is not looking the best, but his teleport down to the bottom side does mean that they're full committing to Otacon, and they do get the Otacon. G2 make them pay for it, though.
I mean, I think the FlyQuest punish was just so good, and as you rightly said, the use of the Soraka there. Like, I don't really understand how Hansama just lost all his HP, but all I could see was FlyQuest was full. Like, they walked into that Otacon feeling very comfy, and G2 do their best to cross-map by securing that mid-adder tower. There's still a lot of standing gold for both sides, as we're 21 minutes in and only a single tower has fallen.
This has been such a slow and methodical series for both of these teams. There has been some whoopsies left and right, but it does feel like FlyQuest got the better of that last moment and do get the Otacon for it as we have another engage to come through. G2 may have found Inspired yet again, but this is how the last fight started. Quad comes on over and just drops a bear on them. The Galio will be the answer. The knock-up, he's still alive, but Skimon will finally get the chomp. And down goes the Xin Zhao eventually. Man, that took everything to make that happen. But now G2 with some control on this map, and you've got FlyQuest down to jungler.
All of this deep vision from G2 in the blue quadrant of the jungle. We even saw before the play took off, there were FlyQuest question mark pings there. They did kind of expect.
Oh, Skimon is just going to get flashed on here, tries to flash the wall, misses. And now you've got the Featherstorm needing to be employed. Another cheeky equalizer to come down, but Bwipo not going to be able to follow up on that one. And so the answer does come through, and finally FlyQuest are on the board. They've discovered how to get kills in this game. Could be dangerous here for G2.
That's interesting as well. There is a teleport on Caps ready if they want to answer the bottom side, because Bwipo, after the kill there, flashing onto Rumble, Bwipo can just push out bottom lane. Galio looks like Broken Blade is going to head down there, so not very much time for them to try and take the tower.
I'm trying to understand how Caps went from being like 20 CS down to now 30 CS up. I haven't been tracking what he's been doing throughout the game, but he now has a full level over Quad. And I mean, at the very least, Bwipo being able to secure this tower, it's such an interesting game because even though G2 find themselves with about a 2k gold lead, it still feels very close. And I think it's just because, every time we see a fight, the Soraka can offer so much value. And as Inspired said, it very much determines, or it's determined by, how quickly G2 can find an initial kill. If they find that initial pick, then it could be very good for them.
No flash on Bwipo.
This might be that initial pick that you were talking about. Outer turret is going to be taken here. Bottom lane to follow suit immediately. The rest of FlyQuest moving on over. They accept the turret, and they just move on. That is going to expand that gold advantage to about 3.2k. And I feel like last game, it was FlyQuest slowly building on their advantage, and this game is G2 slowly building on their advantage.
It does feel that way. I'm still kind of mind blown that Caps now has like a 1k gold lead over Quad. The fact that you could build this up in the side lane, I guess that's what I get for underestimating the EU GOAT. In any case, 35 seconds until the next Dragon. And I can imagine
it was because Quad was too busy doing damage.
yeah, he's been doing a lot of damage, and I expect him to continue to do that. Both these AD carries, I mean, a single ultimate away from both these mid laners to losing a lot of HP.
Masu's also going for Black Cleaver Lucian here as well to remain in the scrap. So FlyQuest going to have these 4 combat members and then the heal bot on the outside trying to stay out of the Galio ult, trying to stay away from the Rakan as well. G2, they're the ones with the priority on engages because Rakan and Galio is such a good combo in trying to stick on that back line.
See, Bwipo always ready to start fighting back whenever G2 move in, but it's getting a little bit scary as they're moving into the fog of war. Equalizer goes down once again.
That's very
trying to get the poke in there. As soon as FlyQuest do take damage, though,
the damage was very little as well.
This is sole point, remember, guys. This is not something that FlyQuest really feel comfortable giving up, but they're not going to be able to move in here into the fog of war to try and deny it. So they're going to have to try and get this middle outer turret instead. Baron just spawning now. FlyQuest moving towards this top side with that mid outer turret falling.
Okay, so only the top tier 1 left for FlyQuest. I imagine that they're going to want to try and secure that one when they can. It's just a decent amount of standing gold. It should be pretty easy to secure. It's a bit risky for Bwipo to go for it now, and quite wisely, he's going to go back to base instead. The risk of a collapse is very real as G2 address some of their side lanes. They're going to have Hans Summer go and catch that mid wave so that he can tick over to level 13. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, Caps is mainly just covering Broken Blade, knowing that it's not the safest place to clear that wave, as Masu also very cautious about what he can't see on the map right now. A lot of control wards and just a lot of vision in general in favor of G2 makes it very difficult for him to approach that mid wave.
And G2, they've got, their 3 sources of heal cutting with the double Bramble Vest on both Skumond and Lebrov, as well as the orb on Broken Blade. So everybody with the possibilities here of cutting down on that Soraka sustain. I want to see what FlyQuest can actually do about the Trundle, though, because Skumond actually had such a good kind of mid-game that it did result in this Trundle being really hard to take down now. And Trundle kind of thrives in these scrappy fights.
Well, he's going to have to try and book it over here. It is Broken Blade with a lot of CC, keeping Bwipo busy. Equalizer goes down. The Wish comes in, but he just dies before FlyQuest could get in there. Still, they're going to look for the fight, though. Crescent Guard comes down. Lebrov just explodes in an instant as the taunt is fantastic. The flash out from Inspire, but he still dies. Not enough in the tank here for Busio. And G2 finding the advantage here. Redemption comes down. They've got healing of their own. It moves to a 3,000 gold lead, and they might have Baron on the mind as they push this lane in.
G2 see Rumble with no flash, and they jump on Bwipo again.
Bwipo's flash just came up as well, but unfortunately too little too late. And now G2 know they have the numbers advantage. There's no smite available for FlyQuest. With Annie around, they might try and contest this still. Masu in the area. Let's see what poke he can get down.
It is a pretty early Baron, but it's going down very, very quickly. A teleport is available here as soon as this Rumble does spawn, and he's teleporting in now, but the Baron is going to go down. Quad immediately explodes as Bwipo cannot get anything done. Flash over the wall there from Busio as Bwipo decides he wants to go aggressive. I'm not sure about that one, but Masu tries to get the kill on Skumond, and it doesn't quite work. All of these Barons still up and available, and the Justice Punch to bring Broken Blade forward. He will find his mark as Busio's still alive and getting this healing down, but the problem is they're not doing enough damage to G2, and they're just going to back up. The culling is working as intended, but unfortunately, it's just a little too late.
The Soraka healing is just way too monstrous. It feels like G2 find a pick, but then can't convert it into a kill. They still get themselves the Baron, though. That was the objective that they wanted, and they ballooned the gold lead to 5.7k.
And they re-killed that Rumble again. And the Rumble did flash in this time. So here's the original pick. They find Bwipo again. Broken Blade immediately onto him, locks him up long enough for the rest of the team to come. Caps teleports over, and they burst him down despite the Soraka trying to heal, trying to keep him alive. So FlyQuest then still try and fight it out. They burst down Lebrov, but this kill, as Inspired flashes over, still going down to the last bit of damage there from Hansama was huge.
It absolutely was, and as they made their way towards the Baron, it looked a little sketchy. I saw Masu near the pit, but he didn't really have much threat in that situation given the HP of Skumond. And once the taunt came down onto Quad, it became an easy cleanup affair. I'm not quite sure what Bwipo's plan was in this situation. Maybe he thought that he could catch someone off guard, but he's not able to do it. He loses his life and he loses the flash. Masu, if Soraka wasn't in the game, this Lucian would have fallen. But just look at the healing coming through. Busio doing exactly what he needs to keep his AD carry alive.
I can hear the Soraka hate in your voice.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite able to get it. But still, I think that means G2 are going to have control of the entire map right now. This fight just blew it wide open. They've got Baron buff. They got a bunch of extra kills off it too.
Okay, well, we're looking for a bit more of a fight here as the heroic entrance comes down. Quad takes a large chunk. FlyQuest still in it, though, as we can see. Masu is going so aggressive. I don't know whether it's a good idea, as there is the ulti out from Caps to get so much AoE damage, but Masu still alive. The ambulance is working, but Skewmon finally gets the jump down. And there goes the AD carry. G2 are a freight train. They'll break the inner turret, and they'll probably get more because they've got Baron, and they're looking at a game number 3.
G2 will finally get a bit of revenge against FlyQuest as they finally get a big... Wow, I suppose they'll get a big inhibitor.
They did get a big inhibitor push. It's still good. It's still big.
Back away, they can get themselves the Infernal Soul, but this is definitely their game to lose as they look to bring us to Game 3.
It certainly is Game 2, Steve.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's his name going to be in Game 3?
It's Game 3 Gary, and I hope you guys are ready.
If I knew it was Game 3 Gary before, I'd be so G2 biased in this game. Oh my god, I'm really glad you saved that until now, as the priceless moment of the game does come on through. Infernal Soul for G2. The Rebel Baron power play putting them at about 8.7k in the lead. And FlyQuest trying to get back out onto the map. You can see Inspired just wanting to keep this fight going, but Between Worlds comes out from Caps, and he's now on a rampage against Quad. And Masu feels like he just came out of the death chamber, but immediately they're looking to try and put him back in there as this siege, Baron or no Baron, G2 will be able to take down another inhibitor turret. And with Infernal Soul, I think they'll have the damage to burst down FlyQuest now. The culling comes through, but Skewmon says what? As he just takes most of it. Equalizer in as well as they look for Bwipo, but he does go gold and the quickness comes on through. The charm is fantastic. They try and keep him alive, but it does not work. It's a bit of a trade though, as this Rakan is going to be taken down, but man, these wallets, they are so heavy from G2. First Nexus turret to be taken down. Masu going to be next to be taken on this fountain, and G2 showing them that even though they did get swept at MSI, Hero World's going to be a different story.
And I think it's just such a big difference for Skewmon Game 1 to Game 2. Having the Trundle gave him so much more agency. He was having so much more impact on the map as well. And G2 successfully bring us to Game 3.
And this is exactly what we wanted. Now, Analyst Desk, who's got...
And it's just something that a lot of teams were very afraid to give to him, but then the champion kind of fell out of meta. Of course, it did get some buffs coming into this championship. We already saw Mirwin bringing out to not so much great success, but Broken Blade feeling confident as Skewmon going to be taking his hands with the Mundo. I do think G2 have decent range thanks to the Varus. I'm expecting him to go for lethality once again to try and have some poke back against both the Azir and the Jhin. The question becomes, how confident are you with what FlyQuest have drafted? I do like the Azir, especially with the front line of the Sejuani, but as you mentioned, that Jhin does concern me a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, I feel pretty decent about it. They have got a lot of tools that FlyQuest do rely on a lot as far as creating their team fights. And I do feel more comfortable with Busio having engage options than, Soraka was not the problem last game at all. That was definitely more like, Bwipo getting caught out and stuff.
For sure.
But I still just feel more comfortable when Busio can make more aggressive plays. And the Nautilus certainly can do that, especially when, again, G2 are running Orianna and Varus as their carries. Those are two carries that can be pressured pretty effectively. You've got Azir in the mid lane, looking to use Azir sweeps on him. So any sort of support roams towards mid or Sejuani passes as well can burn flashes and create some pressure.
We'll see if they can get that one done as we are under the rift, ladies and gentlemen. Having a look here at Skewmon and what he has put together on this Mundo in the jungle. Fleet footwork going to be the decision. And also, some keystones that are worth noting is the fact that we do see a lethal tempo Varus out here as well. So not going to be going for the lethality route this time.
I'm excited about that. But I also am excited about this top lane matchup because for those that don't know, there is actually quite an extensive history between both Bwipo and Broken Blade, given the various organizations that both of these teams have been on. And I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a rivalry, but kind of Bwipo has had that advantage over Broken Blade kind of throughout his career. It only really shifted around that 2021 mark, but given that they both played in Europe for a fair amount of time, the matchup between the two got quite heated, and it's cool to see them back on the Rift, especially given that they're both on comfort picks, I would associate. Renekton, very well known for Bwipo, and the same for this Jax in favor of Broken Blade.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it's so one-sided. But we're seeing here that BB's not feeling too worried about it.
Yeah, nice little empowered Q charge there from Bwipo for the trade. Usually you'll see the Renekton look for the level 6 possible, like all-in versus Jax with the newly buffed Renekton ultimate. You get so much damage out of that, so I think we'll probably get like regular trading up there. Ooh.
Phenomenal anchor to come through here as Hansama will be able to use the cleanse, but does have to put that on cooldown. They trade it for the heal. As you can see, Busio takes so much burst damage back. Nicely played there from G2 after a good hook to land.
Jhin, though, just showcasing how much damage he can bring to the laning phase. Varus is considered a pretty lane-dominant champion, but Jhin one of the few champions that can kind of go blow for blow with him. But now that Masu doesn't have his support, he's being forced to play quite defensively.
Nice job. Snipe the minion and dodge the Q there from Hans.
Ooh, heal does come on down. Still gets the knock up even after the cleanse. As Masu makes his way out once again. Blighted Quiver not going to get procced.
Again, both junglers are pathing towards bottom side, so Skewmon going to be in position earlier. Mundo's clear is very, very quick. One of the big reasons you always want to pick it into junglers like Sejuani, who rely on CC and are not high damage. Mundo can clear very quickly and then ignore a lot of... Whoa, okay,
Yeah.
getting a little deep there.
Not going to find too much more than that, but it was looking a little dicey. So they're fighting on that top side. Skewmon going to be able to grab himself some shellfish, and we'll just head back home.
That mana in the mid lane looking a little bit sketchy for Caps as Inspired makes his way towards the top side. Broken Blade has to be very defensive now. Kind of expected early on this matchup to go the way of Bwipo, and he's going to get a quick back as a result of the push that he's been able to get. So standards.
Ooh, hook does come on through here as teleport in is an interesting one. Not able to hold them in position for long enough, but they're going for a lane swap anyway, so Bwipo wanted to be down here.
That's a really nice play, because not only do you interrupt the back, it was only Busio that interrupted his own back, allowing for Masu to get back to base, so he's already going to begin the swap, and he has that slight tempo advantage over his bot lane counterpart.
Yeah, delay them on their reset in matching the swap, so Masu will get there first and should get to most of the minions. Snipes one.
Beautiful use of this Deadly Flourish so far from Masu, as he doesn't hit all of the minions, but will be able to make it into experience range for most. As Busio moving around, looking for a bit of an angle under Caps. Does walk over Vision at the time, but Labrov's going to turn up as well, and so Busio just says, nope, I'm just going to turn around and leave.
Both supports just testing the water, providing cover for their mid laners as Bwipo looking to try and proxy. Some decent damage from Broken Blade, but there's not much that he can do to stop this, and this will give Bwipo a window to look for a roam if he wants to.
It's kind of dangerous, though, because both of them know jungler's cleared from top to bottom, so he should be expecting Skewmon to be over towards his area.
And he kind of was, so now just going to be vacating, moving back. Does have that tempo advantage, like you were saying, by being able to clear out the wave so early. But another crash going to come on through here as FlyQuest move this minion wave towards the turret. And we do see it's about 100 gold, I guess, the lead, but that will be evened up as this wave is cleared out.
Ooh, the freeze is actually coming out from Broken Blade, so he's caught the wave that Bwipo tried to proxy, and now he's dragged it into the middle of the lane, and now he's going to start having that slow push go in his favor. The good news for Bwipo is he does have his jungler on the bot side of the map, so it should be pretty easy for them to break this freeze. In fact, Inspired might look for a wraparound, because there's no vision on the bot side, so Broken Blade in a lot of danger.
Yeah, looking a little bit dicey here as the counter-strike comes in. The Flash W is going to connect as the Grandmaster's might is not mighty enough, and first blood goes over to Bwipo on this Crocodile.
And again, it's on the level 6 timing that you're always looking for the Renekton. As soon as you get that ultimate, you know you have good conditions, and it's even more favorable with all the setup that you're talking about. No vision around the bottom lane with the wave pushing. Broken Blade jumps right in, right into Inspired and Bwipo's arms.
And the timing is fantastic as well because Broken Blade has just used his TP, the Dragon is available to be secured, and the advantage that Bwipo gains after Broken Blade loses all that farm as well, just beautifully done from FlyQuest as they've now already built up about a 500 to 600 gold lead.
Yeah, got to be a little bit more cautious when you don't have any vision at all down there. And as you say, Inspired pretty happy to grab the objective, though Skewmond is going to take that opportunity to punish a bit. Your jungler shows getting Dragon. I will take your Cromp at least.
Oh, there's the sweep from Quad. Flash comes out from Caps as the flash in trade there, as Quad avoids the Shockwave. Nicely done, but there's a lot of summoner spells now missing in the mid lane, and both junglers can smell it. Skewmond moving on over. Quad does have that wave pushing into him. As now another fight in this bottom lane, top lane matchup that we've got here.
Good spacing there from Bwipo. He's going to feel really confident now after the extra money from the kill. Goes for another proxy wave here. Every time you do this, you get an extra 30 seconds of move timer to be able to do whatever you want. Getting deep vision inside the Mundo jungle is also very helpful. So we'll see what he elects to do the next time around.
Now, I was talking about tempo vibes and things like that in the previous series. This is just actual tempo that he's building up for himself. It's real. It is a thing. And FlyQuest are utilizing it very, very well. Even though it hasn't necessarily translated into any big advantages, they're starting to stack up these objectives.
Yeah, and they use that tempo to have Bwipo actually go towards mid. He reset after clearing the wave and is heading mid to rotate the Azir already into the side lane, even before getting first item Nashers.
Orianna gets first rotate, but the Varus is nowhere near. I mean, Skewmond's happy with one. He doesn't have to overcommit to anything else. They've denied the 3 grubs, and so small advantage that G2 will be happy with.
And that is going to be both of them picked up. So FlyQuest do grab themselves 2 points of that those feats of strength, which is certainly a big deal. But not going to be upgrading the shoes just yet. Still need a couple of kills and a first turret. They do want to get there, or of course, grabbing another objective.
Oh, that wave in such a nice spot for Quad, slowly pushing towards him. Yeah. Even though he's a little bit behind in gold against Caps, given the wave state, I don't think he's too upset about this situation right now.
And FlyQuest
weighing up his options.
This is so much value for FlyQuest down here in the bottom side. And remember, Bwipo, he proxied the wave, then reset, goes out towards mid. They rotate over towards bottom from the Azir that now waits out the teleport. His teleport timer is coming up as well.
Oh my goodness, so much money just going to the wayside. And they need money on Quad. Not only is he going to be the most consistent damage that they have, but also this guy is like 18-6 on this champion. Like, this is one of the Quad champions. And we'll see whether they can get some value out of it. Dominus here in this mid lane as Caps is in trouble. Remember, no flash for the Orianna, but the Shockwave is back off cooldown. And he creates enough distance to get Bwipo away from him. Still the Crocodile's scary. Caps now going to deal with this wave underneath the turret.
Yeah, I always love trading ults like that aggressively in the wave, because Bwipo, he can trade the cooldown and push the wave and get another early 30 seconds to work with. He teleports back out, actually, to keep that tempo up and shove the next wave while Caps is going for his reset, and then force the Caps teleport in answer.
And what's happened, it's like a 30 CS advantage. It's kind of massive as Quad throws out the Emperor's Divide, but Broken Blade going to be feeling okay with the fact that he did get an R button just for a leap strike.
Yeah, is he feeling okay as far as the entire game, though? He's
no.
Yeah, he's getting a spear in the face now. He was like, okay, well, the Renekton and the gank, that was painful, but the Azir as well, even pre-first item, already going to apply extra pressure, and so Broken Blade is the one trying to scrap together some extra money in this game and having a pretty rough go at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the advantage of being against the Azir is the kill threat is a lot lower when playing against the Azir, especially when you know that the ultimate is already gone. So the possibility of a gank from Inspired is that much lower. They are going to face check into Inspire, though. Boostio is right by his side. Looks like they're going to send Bwipo actually up to top lane, and now that Jax is going to have to run into this Renekton once more.
Oh, decent interruption. Magnet Storm does nothing, as Labrov is left looking a little silly after that one. Just really well played defensively there by FlyQuest.
And that's a big ulti gone now for the Dragon spawning in 25, so if G2 want to fight it, it's going to be that much tougher.
Cool. Counter-Strike just avoided there by Bwipo pretty comfortably here, as we've got to teleport in just to get the Nautilus back in action.
Preemptive vision here laid by Labrov, setting up for the dragon fight, just lighting up this jungle and the approach angles for FlyQuest.
Hansama gets flashed on here, does have to use his flash, but now he's a Varus with no flash.
Yeah.
That's a tug.
Busio, good value trade right there for Nautilus. He's got point and click. And Varus, wait a second, they do stop the recall, so they know Inspired is around here.
Quad is going to have his ultimate very, very soon, but they know the timer, and it looks like G2 are just going to be able to burn this one down. So evening up the Dragons, grabbing themselves their first neutral objective of the game as well. And it's a Cloud Soul, my personal favorite, no bias, but Dancing Grenade doing a lot of work here, actually, as it's just a serrated Dirk. We're not quite at first items just yet. Masu here in this early to mid game, feeling all right on the Jhin.
So this side lane down there that has Azir in it, it's troublesome for G2 because Hansama no longer has flash, so that's kind of dangerous. Caps on Orianna is still pre-first item breakpoint because you have to start out for the tier as well. And so you're facing this Nashor's Azir in the side lane, and that's just, it's so problematic. Broken Blade, meanwhile, as you can see on screen, they're going for the 2v1.
Yeah, Bwipo, this is going to be a difficult one to deal with, especially with the Brock turning up. That flash not going to help, and Bwipo is going to be taken down. It's a lot of money removed from the Rift.
The other side lane, though, is looking juicy. They just attack the other side laner, take down Bwipo for the free money.
The way you said the free money. I mean, it's much needed gold for Broken Blade. He has really been struggling, regardless of who he's been playing against in the side lane. In his attempt to push out the lane, though, Inspired is looking for a kill.
Yeah, Winter's Wrath does tag him, and there's not a lot of mana, but still, not going to quite get to
That wave is now quite awkward once again, but Scumon's here to fix it.
Oh dear, throwing the first briefcase. As we've got a bit of a problem for Caps as the depth charge comes through. Flash comes down, but the answering anchor is fantastic. Busio will be traded, though, gorgeously played by Caps to make sure it's a 1-for-1.
And that is worth for FlyQuest for sure. They're going to push afterwards. How much? I mean, is he going to actually interrupt? Okay, he is. Quad could just go greed and farm another turret plate then.
See whether he does actually do that. He might also farm a Rel. Instead, he will settle for the plate.
And Caps doing the best of a bad situation, but it's FlyQuest that's continuing to mount leads where they can. That was one of the few areas that G2 had a pretty sizable gold advantage, but because of the sheer amount of time that Quad has been spending in a side lane, the fact that he's gotten himself another play and a kill has now swung the gold in his favor. And while it's still very even between the two mid laners, you can see that it's just FlyQuest building advantages pretty much everywhere across the board.
And Bwipo's done a lot of it through minion waves. And, you know, all of his proxying has really benefited them. He's denying another bunch of minions under this tower. He's playing the blocker to this lane. And that was like 2 full minion waves worth stacked up that he just denied.
Yeah, only one of them goes over as far as money.
He's been doing a fantastic job in this early game, and it all comes off the back of that gank from Inspired towards the bot side. The moment that he got a slight lead against Broken Blade, you just really see the power of this Renekton. He spikes so hard in that 1 to 2 item range where it feels like very few champions can really contest against him, and now Broken Blade is kind of forced to go up against the Azir once again.
Masu might need to make a bit of a break for it here in this mid lane, but does have Ghostblade and Swifties. It's going to be very hard to stick on top of him. Scumon's health bar is starting to look very, very large, as we can see. Inspired in the area, though, Glacial Prison in hand. So we have a look at the comparison here between our top laners. Speaking of top laners, it's going to be Quad playing defensively here, getting rid of Broken Blade yet again. Means Emperor's Divide is going to be off cooldown for any potential fights, as he just leaps back in once more. This is a little dicey. There's the Counter-Strike to come on through. Decent stun coming on in there as Broken Blade does at least get the flash out from Quad. And he makes it to the safety of his turret.
I do feel like Trinity Force on Jax is kind of the point at which Jax really starts to feel confident on a side lane, and that's what we're starting to see. Quad now has to be a lot more respectful as the Rift Herald is started off by G2.
Exactly. It took him a while to get there, but he did, in fact, get there.
Yep, teleport is available here from Broken Blade, so it can be a 5v5. As there's the anchor connecting. Glacial Prison goes down as well. Decent chain CC as the Shockwave is decent as well. It's massive damage, but it's G2 coming out on top as both the Nautilus and the Renekton on the floor, and they'll claim the objective.
G2 get a massive fight around the Herald and secure the objective, taking out the front line, securing the Herald. They've swung the momentum massively in their favor. Let's have a look back.
Yeah, FlyQuest, they make the call, hey, we don't have Quad joining because he's so low on Azir, but we're going to try and make a fast play. So they try and burst down this rel, but they couldn't quite do it. Labrov gets the shield off, and Han Sama just melts through that double front line there.
Oh dear, Caps might be in a little bit of trouble as the curtains have been called. The last shot comes through, and Masu will be able to nail it, evening out the kills. Still, that last play putting G2 back into touching distance once more.
I mean, FlyQuest don't waste any time. They get back out on the map, they find a big pick, and now Skewmon sets his sights on bot.
Yeah, Quad actually greeting a little bit to make sure that he gets this turret, and Emperor's Divide comes down, but there is a spell shield, and Skewmon says what? And once again, it is going to be Quad going down. Beautifully played. They did manage to get the turret, of course. He kind of knew that he was going to be in a little bit of trouble, but good cleanup.
Yeah, G2, they use the Feats turret as like a little bait. So they know, okay, this guy is definitely going to stick around for the tower. Let's go trap him there. And so G2, they get a kill off of it. But that is going to be the Feats for FlyQuest.
It was a really nice interrupt from Labrov as well, because it looked like Quad was going to get away to safety. But that's a tower going to be secured by Bwipo, and so FlyQuest will hold on to the gold lead. When we look at the bottom of our screen, all of the gold lead really is sitting on Bwipo. And so far, in that last fight, he got shut down so quickly. Hans Summer's continuing to ramp up in terms of itemization. Another tower secure.
Okay, will go down as the minions do deal with it. Hans Summer holding Inspired in place as he procs that Blighted Quiver. Starting to do a fair bit of work here as 1.5 items are completed for the Varus as the Dragon was started, but not actually committed to just yet. Exactly, Shockwave pulls Bwipo back. Does have the Dominus to get that extra health, but Caps, he will be able to push away this Renekton, and now without all of that power and money in this fight, it could be difficult here for FlyQuest as G2 still going to be pressured away, and it will be the Dragon going down. Bwipo going to be stopped as well. That back not going to come through. We'll see whether they can get a dent onto this turret, and with the Rift Herald, they will be able to.
Yeah, G2, they have to respect
FlyQuest. Oh no, another one, and this time the Magnustorm comes in. Bwipo has to flash, gets himself out of there. Shelly gets a headache, and will be able to take this one down. Skewmon stands in front of the hook, and Busio has to cleanse, gets himself out of the way. Oh, the Emperor's Divide moves Skewmon away from him, still able to get the kill, but now the curtains have been called. First bullet, second bullet, third going to miss, the fourth one lands, but it's eaten by Labrov, and he's going to be just fine. G2 limp away.
A crazy back and forth as Masu secures a kill. 6-6, the scoreline at the top of our screens. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Broken Blade was just pushing. Normally that's Mundo's thing, but the fact that Broken Blade was able to get so much gold, he's going to go back to base, complete a massive item in the Sundered Sky. And it feels, and for the first time this game, G2 have swung the gold in their favor.
Yeah, with the secondary tower there, that actually catches Broken Blade completely up. 2 items on Jax. Now he is an actual champion, an actual threat here back in the game. And G2's kind of scramble there around mid lane does allow him to do that because the rest of the 4 members of G2 have to take care of themselves.
I mean, this is quite a deep commitment. They think they can catch Bwipo off guard, but a nice flash from him gets him to safety. Busio finds what I thought wasn't an ideal angle. I thought he'd overcommitted, but then Skewmon overcommits himself. Flashing in to get that kill was way too deep. Quad with a really nice response ends up being a 1-for-1, and then FlyQuest chased down G2.
Yeah, that briefcase angle was crazy.
Exactly. Right at the end, Skewmon was able to thread the briefcase before he dies over and gets Busio. But by the same token, Masu then gets a snipe as well after you think the play is done.
And I think it's still probably fine here for G2, but every single one of these games has been too close. Way too close. And we're seeing there is not even 1,000 gold in it between these 2 squads. Otacon now up and available though. A dangerous place to fight as Bwipo in this tribe rush, but G2 with control of the area.
I think that, not enough time because we're starting off the Otacon. G2 is just forcing this one.
Yeah, FlyQuest do have vision. They know what's going on, but it is burning down so incredibly quickly. Mundo is very, very good at doing a lot of extra damage to these as Busio not going to quite hit the anchor. As can they get to steal the answers? No. Bwipo taking a fair bit of damage as Broken Blade is now so dangerous, but Bwipo still able to get that work done with this dominance, but it's in fact the redemption that helps out, and down goes Quad as well, and it looks like FlyQuest not quite making this one happen as G2 just move forward. Mundo is indeed doing exactly what he pleases, as that cleanse, that ain't gonna help you, buddy, as Skumond does have a lot of paperwork to do, and he's in the way.
G2 win a massive fight around the Arakan, an objective that has become so scary in domestic for throwing games. G2 play flawlessly. Broken Blade finally gets revenge on the side lane. The mid tower is going to fall, and this game is getting out of control as G2 grow the gold lead.
G2 just take over at the Otacon, grabbing it and all of this gold. What a massive, massive swing.
This is pretty amazing. We have to remember as well, this game, you go to top 8, and it was looking like FlyQuest had a fair bit of control. You know, that slow but steady in game number 1, the answer back from G2 in game 2, but this is the first decisive lead we found coming out of the mid-game.
And that's the key word there. They started decisively before Inspired had a chance to join. He was walking all the way from base, but let's get back to live.
Yeah, we got another battle here as Broken Blade will find another counter-strike. It only hits onto 1, but it's so difficult to kill this. Jax, he just dives on top of Masu. I think he's gone too far though. Does get the redemption, and what the heck is this? Jax still gets shut down. And that was looking frightening, and he was very alone.
Broken Blade showcasing his comfort on the champion. Definitely a little too comfortable as he dived into many members of FlyQuest, ends up trading his life for Busio, which debatable if that was really worth it. But right now, we set our sights on the next objective. Dragon spawning 35 seconds away. FlyQuest, if they can get that objective, they can put themselves on soul point. They still have avenues to turn this game around, and it's important to remember, with Quad in the position that he's in, there are ways for FlyQuest to still win these fights.
Again, props to G2, because for a lot of the objective fights from the previous game, we had seen FlyQuest having way better setup, being there ahead of time, but this time around, G2, they pulled the trigger so quickly that the front lines wasn't set for FlyQuest. Now, going for a little exchange as well.
Yeah, looking for a little bit of an angle, but no full commitment onto any of these fights. Skumon just standing in that front line. There's the flash forward, and where did he go? Master just explodes thanks to the shockwave, and now an exhausted Quad is just gonna fly his way out. But now, without their Jhin, this should mean that G2 can get themselves this Dragon that has just cropped up to even the scoreline there, even able to deny some backs.
The combo is clean, and G2 are playing with confidence. It feels like this game is slipping so far away from FlyQuest, their options are becoming limited, and the first question they ask is how do they get through the Skumon, but Masu, he barely steps up. Labrov sees the angle, Caps is quick to follow up, and it ends up being a one-shot.
Yeah, don't think there's much outplaying that one.
Yeah, nice arrow from Hans right at the beginning too. Everything hitting at once. Masu down, and G2 are primed to make it into quarterfinals, and they're doing it with Skumond on his Mundo. Well, the rest of the team here going at Busio again.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle there, but Leap Strike does get Broken Blade over the wall. They will be okay, as never mind. Inspired, looking for an angle. Deadly Flourish comes down. Another curtain call to come in here as Skumon flashes himself away. Busio's dead once again, though. The last bullet, not quite enough, but Quad does have the follow-up damage. It's a trade of supports. For now, the flash forward from Inspired. He thinks he's found the angles. Whipper just flashes on top. Hans is going to fall down for the first time in this game, and now this Crocodile is doing what he wants instead of the Mundo as they escort G2 out of the river.
FlyQuest are fighting back. They flash, they get the kills onto Hansama. 2 down though is not enough to rush an early game Baron, so it's just gonna stop at that gold.
Are you sure?
A second, maybe
They've got Quad at full HP. I think they have the damage to force this. G2 only have 3 members alive.
Skumond is going to come over here as, yeah, if Quad's doing
Caps
damage to
has
this,
TP.
it's going down very, very quickly. And so is Skumond, as we can see here. He's just a health bar, and this is Nash's and that Leandri's completed. Busio makes his way back. Broken Blade wants to get in here, but this Baron is going down so incredibly quickly. They have vision, but they have no one in the area, and it's FlyQuest that take the first Baron.
And they actually get out. It is enough to get them Baron. Betty, this game is gonna be a banger.
FlyQuest find a way to fight. back. They find an important pick in their topside jungle. They force the fight. They're forcing G2 to retreat, but they overstay their welcome. As you can see, Hansam on the right-hand side of your screen, he's thinking, how do I get involved in this fight? He steps up towards the rest of the team. Busio drops initially, but a nice fourth shot connects onto Lebrov. Quad feels like he has the damage, and with Whipple coming in from the flank, great target focus onto Hansama means that he is shut down, and a Baron opens up.
Critically, both Inspired and Bwipo have flashes. They each flash onto the Varus. They take down the on-hit Varus, and that is enough to keep them in the game with a Baron.
And you can see the win expectancy is looking right in the middle at this point, even though it has been looking a little like a heart monitor this game. As you said, Kobe, we might be in for a bit of a banger here as FlyQuest, with this Baron, what can they actually get?
I will say too, even though the gold is much closer now, G2 had the Otacon, and so with all of the kills that have gone on this game, look at the flower petal difference, 38 over on G2 to the single petal that FlyQuest were able to grab early on in the game. That is a massive gold difference in just pure stats that you're getting, as well as experience.
Ultimately though, Quad has put himself in such a fantastic position. He's about to take over to level 16. Inspired is in the area to cover as G2 know the threat. They want to eliminate it, but Quad will get away to safety. There is that level 16. The death cap being worked on for Caps is still a ways away. I can actually have a quick look. He is 200 gold off it. So
And like, do you see that damage just from one soldier auto attack onto Skumon?
oh yeah.
He's built, 3 items already, but still this Azir is doing so much work.
This game could still very much go either way. The Baron has bought a lot of time for FlyQuest to hook.
Yeah, hook to come on through there as Busio starts off the fight. Glacial Prison is good as well to hold down this front line. The last bullet this time is not going to land as we have fights on multiple fronts. The counter-strike to interrupt the teleporters. Lebrov will be able to get himself to relative safety. Now it's G2 trying to turn this one around because Bwipo is so much of what allows FlyQuest to win these fights, and he was denied.
FlyQuest try and engage on Skumond and Lebrov, and they get neither of them. Lebrov gets the counter engage. They turn back around. Hansama hit the Varus ultimate onto Quad, and they kill the Azir, the heart of the FlyQuest comp.
The problem for G2 is there's no objective for them to really convert it into. A siege isn't easy as long as FlyQuest still hold on to the Baron. There's no dragon available just yet, and both Quad and Busio will be back alive ahead of the Cloud Dragon spawning. Means that FlyQuest continue to buy a little bit of time. It's a mistake that's not going to cost them too much, except a little bit of gold, and as I mentioned, there's that death cap now available for Caps.
And it basically cost them their entire Rebel Baron power play. Like, it was 300 at the end, and that is not very much in the grand scheme of things. But still just nullifying, that does put G2 back in a decent advantage, and now Soul Point on the line. Cloud Soul could be a big deal for either of these teams, and man, this goes down fast. 3 items now completed here for Hansama with this on-hit Varus build. And I was thinking like it was going to be dangerous because you saw what happened. It's just a flash forward from the Crocodile, and Hans dies if he doesn't have the cleanse. And so it can be dangerous, but the way that they've navigated around him, if he lands the Chains of Corruption, there is definitely some angles.
Yep, definitely true. Quad still has flash for the next play, so there's possibilities of big Azir moments, but This Mundo is fully scaled here. 3 items plus for Skumond. Large gold lead to him, on a champion that he just jumped on so early on and really put a lot of work into.
It's such a tense game state. Europe, they can see a quarterfinals in their eyes, and it's been so long since we've been there. But North America wanting to shut that down. FlyQuest have fought back valiantly, and they are by no means out of this game just yet. The Infinity Edge finish for Marsu could be such a massive item breakpoint for him. He's isolated in the mid lane. He will respect the engage possibility. A quarterfinal spot. The Baron spawning a minute away. We are getting to the late game, and it's all going to come down to a massive team fight.
The tension is building here. A full minute away. The vision work needs to be done early, though. We have seen the impact of these engages, especially from this Rel. Lebrov got multiple big ones on Masu in the mid lane with his flash. On the Azir as well, following up from Hansama's ultimate. But now, It is about the Baron arrival. 47 seconds here, and the map, the approach, is dark for FlyQuest. It is dangerous for FlyQuest.
They have one flank ward, which is kind of interesting, but you can see Caps may have found Inspired. He just Arctic Assaults over the wall.
Took very little damage.
Got a Kennick Rooker.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think Caps even broke through his shield.
Right.
One tanky Sejuani. Both the front lines on both sides are very scary. Quad's going to be the individual responsible for melting those tanks. For Hans Sama, he's going to be the guy for G2. And obviously these are both the targets for either side.
And the Baron is up basically now. 5 seconds time, and that one will get there. And so G2 will be able to welcome her in. And they might be able to start this one up. We'll just have to see. As Bwipo in position on this blast cone, they do get an engage onto Inspired. And Broken Blade with that flank angle is spotted. Thankfully there for FlyQuest fans.
Bwipo, though, he's sitting on a control ward. They haven't seen him come through. They're trying to ward for the flank, but they don't know where he is. Hans has to be extremely careful because Bwipo could be the game changer as Broken Blade. Looking for both top laners with their flanks. Could be the thing that defines the game.
Yeah, which flank is going to work out? Will it be Bwipo finding the priority target? But he's found instead as Labrov gets into that brush, clears out the control ward. And G2 now with the upper hand as Broken Blade wanting to sneak in once again. Bwipo slices to get out of there, and Quad has to get out as well. Boostio starting off the fight, gets the double knockup, but Skewmon is so tanky, not tanky enough. This Azir is just going front to back, as now Broken Blade with the counter-strike is going to be able to help take down Bwipo. The hook is going to not land, but the Magnet Storm is gorgeous. Not enough to do all the damage, and Boostio somehow got in there, but look at the Emperor's Divide. Down goes Broken Blade, the curtain call as well to slow down Labrov. G2 still with some players alive, but these health bars are so low, and FlyQuest come out on top.
And Skewmon goes down without activating his ultimate. He just gets popped in the CC. FlyQuest, they turn on Baron.
A second Baron, almost like back-to-back after it spawned at 25 minutes. And FlyQuest get another go with the Rebel Baron power play.
That is absolutely insane. The fact that Skewmon died so quickly, the front line just disappears. Broken Blade threatening the flank. It looked like that he was going to commit onto Marzu, but he didn't want to go in too deep. Bwipo takes a chunk of damage right at the start of the fight. Look at the positioning of Broken Blade. A hook and great ulti comes in from Boostio to buy some time. The shockwave is held onto, and the ulti connects on the Quad, but then it's not followed up on. G2 turn their attention onto Bwipo, thinking they can get the damage down. A nice re-engage from the Brov, but it's not enough damage. The carries are safe, and FlyQuest turns it into a one fight.
Oh, the timing of that Emperor's Divide was just gorgeous from Quad. We're right into another team fight as now Bwipo having to use that Q to try and get his health bar back, but Hans Sama's just going to shut him down. The Deadly Flourish as well is trying to work out, but Broken Blade stays alive. The Emperor's Divide is gigantic, and BB will go down. The Azir is taken as well, and G2 straight out of the replay, straight putting FlyQuest into the death chamber.
Caps goes on a rampage. He finds such a huge shockwave with the help of Labrov. G2 may well have done it. There's only Inspired left to try and defend the base, but after 3 long years, I think Europe is back at the quarterfinals.
It was looking like it was going to happen again. It was going to look like North America could deny them one more time, but it's the top 8 in the eyes of G2 as they look to take down these Nexus turrets. The Nexus, the next to go down, and the Baron curse for North America is their bane, and G2 say thank you very much.
Caps, the Western Goat, finds the shockwave to take down FlyQuest.
Oh my God, what
I need to know what happened before that fight.
Stressful fight.
The lead up to that fight, yeah.
Yeah. How did we get to that position? Because it felt like FlyQuest had, it was a beautiful Baron, but maybe the analyst test will have more answers than us because that game was insane. Take it away.
They made it. It's been so many years, and G2 is finally back in the top 8 at the World Championship after falling to NRG